Welcome to Need to Know Basis, the week's biggest headlines from around the world told in 10 minutes or less. Hosted, written, and edited by me, Maya Burney, and produced by Melody Scott. This week, we have a special episode recapping the 5 biggest stories you need to know from this summer. The presidential election is only a year away, and over the summer, more Republican candidates have made their bids to join the primary race for the Republican Party. Former President Donald Trump currently remains the top of many early polls with a double-digit lead over opponents. He is currently facing 4 separate indictments with multiple charges on each, about a hush money case, documents found at his home in Mar-a-Lago, the January 6th investigation, and an election interference case in Georgia. Another candidate is Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, who announced his campaign launch on May 19th. He is optimistic about his campaign, saying, quote, "We live in the land of opportunity," according to CBS. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis also launched his campaign on May 24th with a delayed live stream on Twitter. However, DeSantis blamed this on his popularity. Former Vice President Mike Pence announced his intention to run in the Republican primary on June 5th after visiting early voting states and taking a stab at Trump, telling CBS, quote, "Different times call for different leadership." Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie put himself into the race on June 6th as another challenger to Trump. Other Republicans also entering include Doug Burnham on June 7th, Francis Suarez on mid-June as the only Latino candidate, and former Texas Republican Will Hurd also announced mid-June. For the People's Party, Cornel West announced his bid in June as a third-party candidate because he says neither party wants to tell the truth about the big issues, according to CBS. The war between Ukraine and Russia has only heightened over the summer. Biden has continued to place new sanctions over Russia that will restrict many of Russia's financial industries, including metal and mining industries, financial industries, as well as future energy capabilities, according to the statement from the White House. These continued sanctions are intended to show Putin the war is not worth the enemies he will make and the lives he will lose. Another show of power in this war has come from Poland, an ally of Ukraine and an Eastern European member of NATO. Poland has received 14.8 million Ukrainian refugees and given aid to Ukraine since February 2022. But now Poland is under scrutiny by the Western allies because of its longtime reliance on Russian materials, according to CNN. NATO's priority continues to be the war in Ukraine and preparing for the summit, as NATO's chief Jens Stoltenberg met with President Biden and told him, "They are trying to strengthen the eastern flank with countries like Finland and potentially Sweden that will put a stop to Russia's military campaign." This, along with the recent mutiny in Russia following their, quote, "mistakes during a special military operation," according to CNN, and how the Russian media released news that a plane crashed and killed Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. Yet many are skeptical about the reality behind the crash and if Putin is behind it. These have made the last few weeks more intense for Russia in this war. Natural disasters have continued to devastate people across the world with wildfires, floods, and record-high temperatures. One of the major wildfires happened in June in Canada, where a record amount of land in the province of British Columbia has been burned to the ground. The Associated Press says these fires have killed 2 people and will continue to affect farmers and cattle producers as more fires are to be expected. This has not just affected Canada, but the smoke from these fires have created harmful living conditions for U.S. states like Montana, North Dakota, Michigan, New York, and Ohio. The Great Lakes and Chicago have specifically been deemed as, quote, "unhealthy for sensitive groups" by the National Weather Service, according to the Associated Press. More fires appeared on the other side of the states in Maui starting August 8th, where 99 people were killed and the landscape was devastating. This was the deadliest wildfire in the United States in over 100 years, and Maui's deadliest natural disaster in decades, surpassing even the most intense hurricanes, according to the Associated Press. Across the sea, Italy has had a huge natural disaster of its own, a flood that has hit over 100 towns. The floods in Emilia-Romagna have caused 14 deaths and over 36,000 people have had to be evacuated, according to the Associated Press. Italy has created relief funds for those who have been heavily affected by the flood, creating a package of €2 million, equaling to $2.2 million, to help give relief to the people who have been affected. Roe v. Wade and federal abortion rights were overturned in the Dobbs case on June 24, 2022, with this summer marking its 1-year anniversary. Biden gave a speech saying bringing back abortion rights would be at the, quote, "front and center of his administration," according to NPR. This comes in the wake of Biden beginning to prepare for his re-election campaign and the new polls that show the American people are becoming more accepting of abortion rights. A new NPR/PBS NewsHour/Martise poll shows that 57% of Americans oppose the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Most notably, nearly 2/3 of independent voters oppose the case, according to NPR. There have also been states who are now seeking to get abortion rights in their state or place added protections on the ones they already have, like Florida. People have been protesting at the Capitol in the month of August, yet started fizzling out. But even in Orlando, Clearwater, and Naples, petitions are being spread for people to sign to stop the decision of not allowing abortions after 6 weeks. There are 500,000 signatures right now, but they are aiming for 900,000 to ensure this will end up on the ballot, according to NPR. Non-humans were found on some aircrafts that were recovered, as former Air Force intelligence officer David Gersh said in the House of Representatives hearing in July. The official term for these crafts is no longer UFOs, but unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. At the hearing, Representative Nancy Mace asked about the biologics, which are the products derived from blood and plasma, on the pilots of this craft, and Gersh answered, the pilots were non-human. He said this information is coming from a, quote, assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program, according to NBC. Though Gersh could not tell about the documentation of the UAP, like if they were photographed or just written about, he is still being labeled as a whistleblower for UAP. I'm Maya Burney, and that was all for your summer recap on Need to Know Basis. For a list of sources, check the description, and join us next week for the top national and international updates.